We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man,
MH.
He's the #1 draft pick DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. And here we're bringing you back inside the locker room, man. And you know what time of the year it is, so you know we have to give our own draft recap, man. We do a little differently, so please tap in and join us, man. We definitely want your comments and feedback on this show. MH, you ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. So, man, starting off on the clock, man, Kansas City draft. Man, I'm open up to you, man. What was your initial thoughts, man? I mean, we've kind of seen the evolution of the draft bouncing around to cities, and it looks like it's something that the NFL is going to keep that momentum and keep touching different cities, seeing that it's going to be in Detroit next year, man. But give me your first kind of thoughts of Kansas City and the Kansas City draft.
I'm gonna, kind of defer to you. Obviously, you experienced it in person, but from my angle, miles and miles away, I thought it looked cool. From the little that I know of the city, I thought it was a unique location of where they held it at Union Station there in Kansas City. And, I think from what I've experienced with Kansas City, it's kind of a big, small town, like a lot of those Midwest type of cities outside of Chicago. So it looked really cool. I think the main thing that stuck out to me that was kind of unique from drafts in the past is, the Chiefs are a Super Bowl winner, right? And so when I looked out into the draft crowd where they showed the numbers, it was a lot of red.
And the Red Sea wasn't parting at all, boy. Because
it was a sea of red, and that wasn't so much the case when the draft was here in Las Vegas, and even what I remember from Nashville and in Cleveland, the Kansas City Chiefs was a Super Bowl winner. So them opening up the draft with bringing the Super Bowl trophy out had a unique element. It took them 36 minutes to make their selection or to start the draft because they had to do their Chiefs stuff.
Right.
And had a concert. Yeah, whatever that is. I get it. It is what it is. But I thought it was cool. And then they kept spanning over the barbecue. So it made me hungry for the 3 days of the draft every time the TV was on, because they sure did show that Kansas City barbecue. So it's cool.
Yeah. So I was able to partake, man. So I was definitely there on location checking things out. It was definitely a sea of red. I mean, you had your other teams, but nothing like you just recanted, man. Just there's nothing like, going there, and they're used to gathering, right? So
right.
I was talking to a local, and that was kind of like part of where the parade route was. So, they're used to kind of doing this, right? So this was, I think, the start or the stop. I forget what they said, and any Kansas City Chief fan can kind of correct us on that. But so they're used to coming out in droves, and then they're coming off of a victory, and it's in their backyard, and they're contenders again. So it was definitely a Kansas City draft. And they played to that. Even to the barbecue, even walking up on the street, I mean, there were so many smokers and rib dinners and, every kind of person that was selling from the, the high end places that, people may have heard of, for like Gates Barbecue.
Gates,
yep, or Q39, which is those kind of one that's everybody's known to those mom and pops, So, I even took a step out and checked out some off the beaten road to mom and pops, man, because I like to support a small local business. So yeah, man, it was a definite interesting location. How they kind of had it at the Union Station, from where you navigated to walk in until where the theater was, and they always call the little theater. That's the main part that you see mostly on TV, where they show the rabid fans and things like that. So all in all, great setup. I mean, definitely a shorter walk for the. I like the setup for the walk because it was funny. Someone was replaying that Mac Jones saying he looked like a principal walking to break up a fight because of how long it was from the back of the house to get on stage from Las Vegas. It definitely was a shorter walk for him.
Yeah, and I guess the NFL, this is a way to engage those cities that probably will never host a Super Bowl. I don't see a Super Bowl happening in Cleveland. Maybe, maybe not. There's one that did happen in Detroit. And I doubt
the Steelers won that one. Just
yeah,
if anybody,
yeah, just for note.
Just for note.
But I don't, I don't envision a Super Bowl in Kansas City, no matter how great Arrowhead is, or the barbecue within the near future. So I think it's a good way to for cities and towns to host the NFL and take over. I guess I'm interested in this. When you landed, in the airport, did you know, like, yeah, the NFL is here, the draft is here? Instantly?
That's one thing that was a miss for me, right? Like, usually the draft or any kind of NFL thing, you see like they have the host teams, like, someone greeting you like, welcome to the draft and draft this and everything's going on. They just had a couple signs and these draft newspapers. So they had signage around, but the welcome crew wasn't there. And maybe I got in a little too late for the welcome crew. Maybe my flight, coming from Vegas to there, it is all right, we in bed, or we too full and we got that itis from the barbecue and we already went to bed. But I didn't see like that kind of fandom or that kind of welcome as far as from the draft. And maybe they had that like, during like, high peak hours.
Yeah, maybe do you have some different shaded glasses? I mean, we live in the sports capital of the world in Vegas, and so Vegas is used to hosting big events, and obviously you see big events all over the world. So you sporting events, right? They have their own unique feel to them. I was interested in that because one of the things that I heard from even NFL reps when we were here in Las Vegas last year was like, they were like, usually when we come to town, it's just like, yeah, the NFL is here, we taking over. And when they got to Vegas, they were like, cool, like y'all here,
but it's still Vegas.
Usher over here too.
Fact.
You know what I mean? So I was interested in that.
Funny thing. So this is not my first time to Kansas, but it's been my first time to Kansas in a minute. So I have family, friends, longtime friends and family there. So I'm landing and I'm in the airport and I'm looking for like that whole feel, like welcome to Kansas City. The draft is happening. Da 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 da. And I get off and I start walking and I'm like, hold on, like this. I mean, long story short, they have a brand new airport since the last time I've been there. And then like, how like that whole, it's Kansas City. So it's Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas. So, you never know. You just start like, hold on, did I fly to the right place? Just because it was a brand new airport. And so that was funny. But it's all being a brand new airport, it would have been nice to see like just some different things. Sometimes there's an NFL store in there because NFL is looking to push that merch and things like that. So maybe it could have been, the concourse that I came in or the time that I came in, but like really didn't see, that kind of rolled out like you see in other cities that host this. Because even bigger cities, like, even when we were in Houston for the Final Four, they had that signage and all of those things around.
I mean, I'm not hating on y'all Midwest folks, but maybe y'all just packed up the pickup truck and just drove there too.
Maybe it was all, if they can't barbecue, maybe it was out in the parking lot because they could tailgate tough there. So maybe it was all in the parking lot.
Everybody just pulled up to the spot. What they
that was it. Yeah. But no, man, all in all, it was that Midwest feel. It was definitely a good time. People were helpful and, happy just to see it in their town. So, back to what I always kind of revert to is the numbers, man. So I don't know. I always usually attempt to look at the numbers, but I don't know what numbers they hit. I don't think that, Nashville, even though people don't think about it, it's a really entertainment kind of town that draws numbers, and Vegas drew a lot of numbers, so it'll be interesting to see what those numbers look like that they post. Kind of moving on, just definitely want to give a quick shout out to, we had a lot of Las Vegas kids in this draft, man, which was really good to see. And we just want to give some of them some love, and I'm pretty sure they'll come up throughout the show that we may touch a little bit more on them. But you have that list, MH, of some of the kids, and we're probably not going to hit all of them, but just some of the kids that kind of were drafted in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a total of 5 kids, and please forgive me if I'm wrong, that were actually, that were taken in the draft. Dalton Kincaid, Darnell Washington, Caillou Blue Kelly, Cedric Tillman, and Dorian Thompson Robinson. A lot of local flavor. A lot of them similarities of what programs they come from in high school programs they come from in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's familiar with Las Vegas, there's a few teams that are really, really good.
Right.
And then one of our friends of the show, his son was picked up, Adam Plant Jr. was picked up by the local team here as an undrafted free agent. So, and I know there was a couple others that I don't want to put short, but it was really cool to see local flavor here and, to kind of show the world that there's a lot of talent here in Las Vegas on that level.
Absolutely. And it's good having like these sports teams here because now it's just kind of, now you think of it, right? So we've had the talent, but now maybe a little more exposure. And, I think that's what I'm going to just jump into because we ended off with Adam Plant Jr. Getting picked up as an undrafted free agent to the Raiders. So I'm going to flip it up a little different. Usually we do them last, but just give me your loose thoughts about the kind of the Raiders draft, right? Like we're not going to do grades because I think grades are dumb, but what do you think just kind of like overall, a lot of movement from the team and what they're looking to do kind of going into the off season. So what do you feel about the draft?
Yeah. Anytime you kind of have new leadership really in any business, I think the leadership wants to always kind of get their guys, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Their staff, their people, the way they vision the game the same way. So, time will tell, but it seems like they got players that they wanted to get in this draft. And I think they did a really good job from the standpoint of Monopoly is a bad example for it, but the Raiders went in with 12 picks. And as you mentioned, they were able to move around a lot during the draft to trade up and trade back and all those type of things to really get the guys that they wanted. And I think that's because they had a lot of picks going into the draft. And that was something that I did note. Their first pick of the draft was Tyree Wilson for Texas Tech, defensive end. Thought that was really cool because one of the areas of strength, I would say, for the Raiders with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, they drafted right into that. So does that extend Chandler Jones's career? Does that give the kids some time to get into a feel and learn from some of the best in the game? I think that's all good.
That's a great point, which I didn't think of because like my thing was like great kid, right? Like love that pick as well. And it's funny, someone posted like he's always been a Raider, like his little league team was a Raider or his high school or something like that, and then he was a Texas Red Raider, and now he's always been a Raider. So I like that story. Like those are always like the little fun things that you pick up as you get to know a guy. But I love that point, man. It's taking some pressure off of him and to learn from some people that because like Max Crosby wasn't that guy. Right. Like he was a great pick, but we weren't looking at him, not to throw shade on the other person that we were looking for to be that pick. And he stepped up and he is that man. He is that guy from his hard work and things like that. So it's great to have him. And then you have, Chandler there. So no, that's a great point, man.
Yeah. And I think that was, we could talk about some other teams as we get to who we think kind of won, but I think that was to me, stuck out as a theme. That a lot of teams were drafted into areas of strength. And then there's some teams that had to, draft whoever they had to draft to kind of be the face of the franchise,
Oh, okay. That part too.
But there's others that drafted to say like, hey, we got some veterans in this, at this position, or we have the foundation to take a young player in and we can kind of develop them and let them kind of take their time and not put the pressure of the world on them right away. So, no, I think the Raiders did a good job. And time will tell.
And that's the thing, man. It's always time will tell, man. Because like I'm not even going to spend time on my matter of fact, I'm gonna just jump in. But really quick, one thing I was wondering is why didn't we go DB first, right? And I think that goes, of course, to you said a lot of teams focus on their strengths, which looking back on it, that makes sense. But I was also wondering, like, with just some of the transitions and the moves that we've done over the last, season and a half, I was just wondering why we didn't, for some things like the kid from Oregon and some other people that like I was wondering why we didn't pick up. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, we named it. There's some quarterbacks in this division, so
absolutely,
you gotta put the pressure on them too. So we'll see. I mean, we'll
definitely see.
They're smarter guys than us, so I'm sure they have their reasons for doing whatever they want to do.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to it, man. It's like it's
for sure.
it's new blood. They're getting their people, you know, what they're looking for. So I'm really excited for the season to come up. That's my Steelers. Definitely happy. You know, there's been jokes about who our quarterback is. I don't appreciate that, you know, because he's thrown a couple of picks when he started off. But, you know, he had to get that out of system, and now we got somebody to protect him. So I think that was a really great pickup for us. Shout out to Bill Belichick, who let us move up to get that pick. We appreciate them. Anyway, Bill Belichick can screw the Jets. He's all for it, and we'll play that game. And then also we'll kind of probably maybe get into this as well. But, you know, got some legacy action going on with Joey Porter. You know, we're going to have another Porter on the team. So Porter Jr. So I think that was really cool. In the same mindset, man, really just the fact that time will tell. I was texting with a brother of mine too. He was just like, oh, you know, he's happy for the draft. And I was like, yeah, I like the draft too. But it's, you know, once we get these people in these pads and we get them scheming, you know, what it looks like. So all in all, happy about the Steelers draft. You know, I just want to keep that winning momentum, that non-losing season roll going. It was a little tough last year, but, you know, I think with Tomlin, you know, back to like we talked about the Raiders, another team, you know, it was a good draft. The GM's definitely happy about some of the guys that they got, some quality guys. So looking forward to this year because we're in a strong, tough-ass division. What do you think about them Cowboys, man? Them boys.
I think the Cowboys did what they needed to do. And we can say that time will tell. A couple picks that I think I wanted to highlight. First of all, the first pick, Mozzie Smith. And then I know some Cowboys fans probably had, you know, PTSD with a Michigan defensive lineman drafted in the first round with Taco Charlton a couple years and what he did or did not do, I should say, for the Cowboys. But I think this is a good fit. This makes our, I guess, best player on defense and Micah Parsons that much better if you can kind of create some pressure inside. Mozzie Smith is a big dude that's going to take up some room in space on the inside. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to obviously Deuce Vaughn, and we'll get more into that. But Deuce Vaughn was a good little. He's going to be a good little piece for the Cowboys. Obviously Zeke is gone. Deuce Vaughn's running back out of Kansas State. He did a lot of different things. I think he can return kicks. I think he can be a kind of a gadget player. He can you know, maybe take a carry or two. Just for many times the Cowboys played Darren Sproles with the Eagles, and many times that he just kind of bothered me. I think it's pretty funny that they get a player that's kind of similar to what Darren Sproles was in Deuce Vaughn. But the Cowboys, which is interesting, usually you always kind of look and you say, like, who's our SEC players? And they only took a wide receiver from South Carolina from the SEC. And we always say the SEC is the best, you know, conference. That's like the mini NFL. Right. And the Cowboys don't, for the last, they don't really draft from there. You know, they do a lot of Big Ten, and they got a shout out to Texas, which is what is Texas? Are they SEC officially yet? Or are they still Big 12? Whatever the case is, right? Yeah. It's just interesting that they don't they don't scream to get the SEC guys. You know, they do stay loyal to the Big Ten, which is interesting that I've noticed in the last, you know, few years, but we'll see.
It will definitely be interesting, man. So kind of moving in. So this is honestly like the favorite part, right? Ever since the lockdown where the draft was, you know, everybody was in the house at the moments, like there were really moments. So now, like, I really watched the draft to kind of catch those moments. And I mean, I had to rewatch the draft because, like, while you're there, you know, you're having conversations and you're bouncing around, whatever. So I did rewatch the draft just to kind of, you know, get some of the analysis and learn a little bit more about the people. But I didn't get to see all of those live action things of the moments that happened, man. So one, I just want to start off just like the draft always starts off. I hate that they do the boo thing. The boo thing.
Come on,
you can do better than that. Like, it really irks the shit out of me. If we can't retire that or get some peak, because even when they walked off, the Kansas City dude booed him like while he was walking out with him, and I'm just like, I'm done with that. So let's retire that. I wish we could retire that. Another moment that I want to get. I'm getting it off my chest, man. I need to vent to the people.
I'm glad you are.
The other thing that we need to get rid of, man, is the damn hug. I do not like these men hugging him like that.
Okay.
I get it that they're happy, and it's so funny, right? It's like I'm not gonna say that.
Please don't.
Yeah, gotta watch where my bread is buttered. But
Correct.
I just think that the hug thing, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know. It's still I mean maybe you could shed some light on it, but just them hugging him like that, and it's just I'm not feeling it. I don't feel it's. I don't know. I'm just gonna stop right there.
Yeah, go ahead and start right there. But I think what I will say is it's a sellable moment that the NFL hasn't touched yet. So essentially, we're gonna say this hug is presented by Black in Sports. I mean, honestly, I always think like when I look at the draft, I always think like, hey, this is inventory, right?
This is definitely like somebody's gonna come up with like some kind of hug safety Allstate or something. Hey, I don't know. That is inventory that we didn't.
It's inventory that's not been touched yet.
MH, you've been hanging around me too long.
I have, man. I'm just like, man, that's the way they keep, because it's a topic of conversation like every year. And like one of the players always has some secret handshake. Like, when did you practice with Goodell on this handshake? Right. So like I really think that's an inventory that we haven't reached yet, and I think it will be sold here soon. So
or then like the day after, right? Like, oh, Goodell goes through all this beat up. How does he relax after all the bruises? Because these dudes be like bear hugging the shit out of him.
Oh, they do. And it's probably pure joy, right? I think that's a lifelong dream, right? That you get your name called by the commissioner, whoever the commissioner is, right?
Whoever it is, right?
Yeah, you get to go on stage and put the hat on and hold the jersey up. I've never had that feeling, so I can only imagine what I would do. You know, I don't know if I would go. You know,
what did Cleo McDowell say? I feel like breakdancing.
Yeah, right. No, like for real, like
Elion.
He's probably like the, you know, and then like it's like a stage of fans, and there's like probably a rush of energy. Like, right? Hey, I'm used to grabbing something anyway. Like, yeah, come here, bro. Yeah, like. I'm happy. So maybe I don't know, but that's some inventory that needs to be touched. That I'm sure.
I love that. Soon. Hey, if y'all need that, we'll help y'all sell that. We'll help y'all do the inventory rights for that, right? No, that's a great point. I love that you put that positive spin on it, as you always find a way to do. Me again being negative Nancy. The moms, man. I wish we stopped with the mom interviews. I think, or maybe we have like a coaching moment, or just or prep them, because like, you know, everybody, they just want to be in that moment and happy as well, right? Like, and that, or just they need to do better questions to prep them, right? Like, mic in your face. So, how do you feel? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm excited. My kid just got drafted, you know. And all be glory to God, right? Like, that's all I got for you.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, and maybe that's in the creative mindset and into the raw TV aspect that gets, because we just talked about everything being sellable with the NFL, right? And how like the draft is taken off into this big spectacle. You know, maybe that's the raw moment that gets you back to like, this is a special moment. It's not just like a crazy event. It is. But it's just a special moment for these families. So maybe that's why they do it. But to your point, I think they could probably help out everybody if you say, hey, and nobody knows when they're going to get drafted.
Correct.
And I guess there's probably a little bit of that goes to it, right? Where I'm sure there's a handful. Maybe Bryce Young might have been the only person in the draft that knew he was going to get drafted when he was going to get drafted. But everybody else is probably like, man, I'm just kind of, it's a lot of relief. And I'm sure parents wear that pressure just like the kids do.
Absolutely.
And maybe lost for words at that point.
And then, I mean, you know, from the media side, right? Like, you know, they only invite a certain amount of people in there, right? So whether you know what time they're going to be there, you know, in a spot to like prep yourself. But give me a moment from you, man. give me a moment that stuck out for you or two.
Yeah, the number one moment I'm going to go to is Caillou Blue Kelly being drafted. Brian Kelly, BK was on the show for sure. Definitely, they've been family friends from the time that we grew up. I just know the Kelly family. I've seen Caillou as a little kid, and obviously I know him more through his dad, but just kind of seeing that family and what that family's been for my family, I thought it was just really special to see him be drafted. It's one of the rare moments. Well, I always watch the draft and I'm anticipating who goes where, but it was more like I was sitting on the hill, on my heels, like, man, I thought he was going to go there, or I'm going to.
This is a good fit for him.
This is a good fit, and I wish you would have gone. Okay, this is a pick there, and all those type of things. And then when I saw his name, and the young man announced his name, and I got to shoot over Brian a text like, man, congratulations. And I saw Caillou a little bit previously to in the process. I saw him in the process, and I can only imagine what he was feeling, anxiousness. If I was feeling anxiousness from my seat, and I can only imagine what he was feeling and what the family was feeling. So really, really cool to see that moment of him triumphing. And then he got to a really good spot with the Baltimore Ravens.
That's a good spot.
And I guess that put the draft to me in a real moment, because Caillou was Brian's son for a lot, and he still is. He'll always be BK's son, but now he goes into he's kind of he's a teammate with two of the biggest superstars in the NFL and all of professional sports, and Lamar Jackson, Odell Beckham. He's like their teammate. It's just it's like, wow, like you went from
to a historic franchise, with a Hall of Fame
Ray
DB,
Lewis and Ed Reed,
it's just like Ed and Ray.
Yeah, it's like, yo, like, wow, like just that quick, life has changed. It kind of puts things in perspective, right? I know him, so like I've seen the progression of the family, right? And you can see like that cool quick. Moment. Yeah, but that quick, you're like a celebrity, right? Like that quick when your name is called, and I guess that we should all say prayers for these young men because they just kids from wherever. And then in the moment they're, superstars, and now they're on a pedestal already. Right. And that's just in 10, 20, 24 hours. And he's doing multiple interviews with, multiple people and all those type of things. Just like, wow, like you really got superstar really quickly. So it's like, let's say a prayer for those kids. That was like a real moment to me. Like, oh man, their life really has changed forever. Just that quick. Right. And I don't think we really we don't touch on that enough, right? That's a lot of pressure probably on these kids. So praying for you, man. Congratulations, Caillou, if you hear this, bro. The Kelly family, definitely congratulations. That was my moment of the draft.
No, that's definitely a great moment just to see him, and then to see him, just the fact of his, BK was like sitting right next to him when he got it, seeing him receive the text from friends and family and everybody, just kind of, and like you said, just seeing the whole process, man, having his dad on the show and knowing what his dad's pedigree was. And I remember when we did the show and he gave his son
the scouting report.
He gave the scouting report,
Yeah.
And then, I was able to go see him when Stanford played USC. Was it 2 years ago, a year ago when they played? But he got him a little pick down there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
score a touchdown. Yeah,
got a tutty. So it's just one of those things, man, when you get to see someone, that's within your circle, you're definitely like just proud for them and want to see them do good,
Yeah, the entire Kelly family, man, from grandmother to his brother and sister to his mom Lisa, like, shout out to y'all, man. It's like, congratulations. That's a full family fledge of support. So shout out to that. That was my number one moment. My number two moment is not necessarily like funny to me. It was just kind of interesting to me, knowing the space that I kind of work in, just seeing how international the game is really progressed to. Well, on day three is always the day where they do special picks, right? Not all of them are on stage. Somebody will pick from London, somebody will pick from Germany, and somebody will pick from Mexico. There was a lot of like international flavor when it came to making those selections from all over the world. And so as the NFL progresses and, is a game that that goes beyond just the United States, I thought it was cool that they incorporated those different countries into the draft. So I thought that was really dope.
Another family moment, we talked about it, Joey Porter, got to see his son, we talked about you, we talked about Adam seeing his son, and then the Dallas kind of thing I think was kind of cool as well. You touched on it a little bit, but I think we posted on our social, but that was really cool as well.
Yeah, Deuce Vaughn, running back. His dad's a scout for the Dallas Cowboys, and I thought it was a really cool moment. They let him make the call to his son, and wonder if you want to come to work with me on Monday. I would imagine that is just awesome.
Gotta be amazing, man.
And for like the scout, you do a lot of things to kind of prepare your family as a father. You do what's best for you in your career, and then obviously your kids as well. And I'm sure he was probably wasn't be able to. There were some nights where he wouldn't have seen his son go to bed, right? And he probably beating himself up like, am I doing the right thing by my son? And so for his son to kind of be in the family business and be selected to the spot that he's at, I think that's dope. And that's the cool part of the NFL draft. That's a really cool part of the NFL draft. I really believe that. I got one more too. Whatever you're ready. I'll get to it, but I got one more. I thought I was cool.
All right, so one thing that was silly that kind of blew up was just your boy, the Luca whatever Van, the guy that went to the Green Bay.
Come on, man. We talking about positive dads right now, not questionable.
How you look at it? Okay, we're
gonna move on.
We're gonna move on. Just Google that. I guess all right. Go ahead. Since you had something on your I'll let you go, and then I have one more as well.
It's always interesting what significant others blow up during these draft moments, particularly in the first or second round. And so I'm sure Will Levis's girlfriend probably has a couple deals coming her way just by sitting there. So shout out to whoever she is. I'm sure you have some deals coming your way.
Well, those always don't last long. We remember what happened to Russell Wilson's deal that got blown and got some shine.
She still gets some royalties for every draft party. Every draft, there's a picture. There's a picture of her. So I'm sure she gets some royalties somewhere.
Absolutely. And we would be remiss, as Black in Sports, if we didn't talk about 3 quarterbacks, black quarterbacks being taken, in the early first round, in the top 10, which never happened. So
top 5.
Well, yeah, top 5, right? But that in itself is just kind of showing some progression of, where we're looking at, like really not capping off, maybe capping off, but just you have Lamar finally getting his deal done, with Jalen getting his deal done earlier in the week, and then you have these quarterbacks getting these opportunities. That's definitely a great positive moment. Not the ending, but is a great start.
For sure. And what's really dope to me about it is that wasn't even my first thought when I saw those 3 quarterbacks drafted. I was just like, yeah, those are about the 3 best quarterbacks in the draft. And I didn't even think like, oh, dang, like, yeah, those 3 black quarterbacks in the top 5 picks. So maybe we're making some progress within that position and how it's played and how we view it, period, right? It's been a long time since the Doug Williams stats, right, to now. And so I think that's really dope. My only, I guess, wish is like some people like Warren Moon, Charlie Ward, Cordell Stewart, like, gosh, like I'm sure maybe they probably be like, I wish I was playing in this era, right? Because Warren Moon was like the dude,
Warren Moon was
right, and he had to go play in Canada or wherever he played. Yeah,
growing up in Canada, had to come over. Yeah.
It's like, yo, that's it. Probably took some years from him, man. Like for real. So, I mean, those dudes set the pathway and they set the standard for it is now. So, we're in a better spot with that position.
Absolutely. And then keeping on that vein, from the HBCU side of things, we only had one guy drafted. Now, I think there's like 14 to 16, something like that became undrafted free agents from HBCUs. But to get drafted is a total different situation for the opportunity for these kids coming in, right? Because if you spend draft capital, that affects the amount of money that these kids get, and as well as how they're looked at coming into camp. and we only had one, which was Bolden from Jackson State, who the Patriots picked up. So still need some work there. I think it was 3 last year, 2, 3 last year. Was kind of quiet on that front, which is surprising. What were your thoughts, man? And did you hear anything maybe different than I heard from just kind of?
Yeah, I probably have an unpopular opinion on it, to be honest. Like, I played in the FCS and the 1AA. I think there was only 10 1AA FCS kids in total, and that's a lot of kids, right? That was drafted. Only 10, like from 1AA, right? That's Big Sky, CAA, SWAC, MEAC, all those schools. Like, there's just only 10 of them. Atlantic 10, like all of them. And I think this is the other side, if you ask me, of the transfer portal, right? If I'm going to be balling out somewhere, whatever, if I have the opportunity to now shift my, career from being at a 1AA to going to a Power 5, I'm probably going to do that, right? If I have the opportunity. And now when I get drafted, I'm not, Miles Hayes from Jackson State. I'm Miles Hayes from whatever school, right? So I think that's the other side that we look at. And, when it comes down to it, we just mentioned in the previous topic, there was 3 black quarterbacks selected in the top 5 picks. So it's not like black folk are not being selected. It just might not be coming from the HBCU. And I'll let Gene and
Ivory.
I'll let Gene and Ivory decide why that's the case. They can talk about that part, but that's my opinion on it.
And I think so. To recant from what you're saying, it took time though for those quarterbacks to be in those positions, right? It took the Doug Williams, the Randall Cunninghams, the Warren Moons, like we just talked about, the Mike Vicks, so forth and so on, to kind of have that opportunity to show different, right? Because we're still not that far removed from the narrative of Lamar Jackson, right? So even though he is a black quarterback, there is still that narrative. So let's not totally throw it away. Like, I feel what you're saying, because at the end of the day, you want top talent. And if they're top talent, they have the opportunity to leave an HBCU, and we saw a lot of them went to Colorado. So
yeah. And it's not like they there was always the saying that if you're good, they'll find you. Right. And I'm not saying there's not talent there, because there is. I just know there's probably more talent at Power 5 institutions, and so does that change in the near future? Maybe not. I don't know. But I do believe that people are getting opportunities, right? And if you're good enough to get drafted or assigned to an undrafted free agent, that's a rare occurrence, right? That is less than 1% of people that start out playing football to when they even call their name on draft day, or even called shortly after draft day and say, "Hey man, come on to the camp. I know you didn't get drafted, but hey, we're offering you this to come on."
Yeah, come on.
That's a small percentage. And so wherever you come from, man, I think that's dope.
No, facts. All right, before we kind of get out of here and wrap this up, from the fashion point, man, like I don't think anybody really kind of crushed it this year, but
but that's the dope. That's the good thing, though.
That's a good thing. Okay, talk to me about that. Give me that then.
So go back to NIL. I mean, we're talking about real money, right? So some of these kids, I think
he's got his own money.
Yeah, I think some of these kids are more on their Frank Lucas type, right? Like, I got money, right? I don't need to be flashy. I liked it. I like the classic look. What I did notice is the double breast thing must be in. Yeah, so there was a lot of double
straps on some of the suits.
I don't know about belt buckles, but like I did like the double breasted look. I really did.
A lot of no socks. No socks seem to still be.
Oh, you always got to have your Achilles. My man Tyree Wilson from the Raiders. He had the, I would say, nice fitted suit, but he had some like flower looking thing to it or whatever the case is. So I think it's dope. No ties. Maybe ties is an old head
Ties
thing
is
now.
old head,
Like,
yeah.
that's 401k. So
A lot of taco meat,
a lot of Vaseline on the chest. So I took those notes. Right, the Achilles is still cool to show.
Okay, Achilles still cool. Check.
And maybe don't have to wear a tie with everything.
So very little ties.
Yeah. And then I wish haircuts would come back. That is the one thing that I do wish would come back as a guy that can't grow hair on his head. Like when is a bald fade gonna be back in style? Like when is that gonna be cool again? I'll be glad when that happens. Somebody needs to LeBron, go ahead and cut your hair so like everybody can follow
suit. There it is.
Yeah.
Fashion 101 from the man MH. All right, so getting out of here, man. Just wanted to think, one, if you have any other things that just pop up as we kind of run through this, but I think we may be in agreement in there, but and I hate draft grades. I think that's preposterous too. But like just an overall sense, man, who won the draft, or who did you just sit down and be like, yeah, that that was what's up?
From the looks of it, it looks like the Eagles did some things that were pretty good.
Yeah,
and I hate to admit that with
as a Cowboy
fan. A team in the division.
Yeah,
but I think they did pretty well.
Yeah, man, they went. It's going to be the Georgia Pro team in the NFL. I mean, because they just racked them up. They just. I mean, I'm on the same page with you. It's like they're definitely reloaded. They know what they have to kind of attack. They know Patrick Mahomes kind of, beat them up, and that's what they're going. That's what the league is going to be now with Patrick, Herbert, what's your boy in Buffalo, like. That's what they're going to have to, and Burrow, like that's what they're going to have to attack and come after. So it looks like they loaded up.
I like Detroit too, and shout out to Brian. Brian, go ahead and give me your draft grade on it. Come on, B. I like what they did. I really think Jamar, forgive me, I'll spell Gibbs. We'll just go to his last name.
Gibbs. Yeah.
I think he's a sweet running back. Like I think he's going to change stuff pretty quick, and I guess that's another point that we didn't get into.
After you got rid of a running back, you went and got
Yeah. I think that's another part that we want to get into, because like they say that the running back position is becoming undervalued. With
they didn't say that with that pick in the first round.
There was 2 running backs picked in the top 20, right? Mm-hmm. And I think I don't know if it's devalued. I do know that they probably like, hey, we're gonna get you now. Like you can come in now and play hard, and then we'll talk about it when it's time to pay you on that second contract. But right now, come in and do your thing right away. So I don't think the position is devalued per se.
I think it's just a different strategy, right?
Like different strategy, not for long.
Yeah, it's just a different strategy right now. Unless it's like, what they think BG was just like a once in a generational kind of, the comparisons to, LT and things like that, you may want to jump on them before, some other team will. And then I think it's the divisions that you're in, right? Like a lot of people want to control the ball, run the ball, where you're looking at the AFC, which is light up the scoreboard.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We got to I love B. John Robinson, but Atlanta, we got to relook at just throwing out Michael Vick's number, bro. We can't just be giving number 7. We can't do that, man. We can't do that. Go ahead and reconsider that number. Maybe put a 2, a 27, or whatever you got to do. But we got to leave that 7 alone.
Facts. All right, man. That's all I got, man. Like I said, it's always good. It's one of those things where we start building on momentum, right? We see the draft. Schedule release is coming out soon, so we'll definitely do a schedule release show in the next couple of weeks or whatever. And then rookie camp and then mini camp. So it's that energizer that you kind of get to see, what assets that you picked up with your team in hopes to be better and go for that championship run in the next year. So I think all in all, the draft, it's an amazing product that the NFL has put together and brought the fans in, include the fans in, and it's become a really great only television product, right? Because we all tune in and watch it. Definitely the first 2 days. And, if you're like myself and you, we watch all the days, all the way to Mr. Irrelevant. So, and shout out to Mr. Irrelevant this year. didn't get his name.
You got his name? My bad, bro. No disrespect.
No disrespect, man. But good luck to you. Anything else for the people, MH?
Nah, you said it all, man. The NFL has figured out how to make football a 12-month a year type of thing. We're talking about the schedule release that's going to come pretty soon, and they're going to make that into its own production. So
a whole thing, not even telling you when it comes, just saying like, hey, it's coming out next week. Check your local listings. Like they got you waiting for like crackhead on
it's going to be there, and then we just telling you go ahead you can book your flights now. Are we going to like it's just wild.
It's good stuff. And then Christmas Day, Black Friday game this year, they're talking, man, like we taking over all days. NFL says, you know what?
It is like, you know, what's crazy, like the NBA playoffs was going on too during that night. And
oh, that's right. I didn't even think about that.
And they altered the schedule. They literally altered the schedule so they wouldn't play on that night. But the Celtics didn't close out the Hawks in time. So they were like, dang, we gotta play. Celtics, you were supposed to beat the Hawks 2 days ago, but you kept them alive. Now only 20 people watching the game now. You messing us up.
You messing us up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Well, hey, hope you enjoyed the show. Definitely give us a feedback, man. We love doing the recap of the show, the draft. We got to look at a different perspective, but we always love to hear your thoughts and perspective. If there's anything that we missed, but like I said, we drop a new show every Thursday. So please check out the show, subscribe to our YouTube, and know visual representation matters. Please stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap and back.